Imagine holding a heavy, glowing bar of solid gold in your right hand. In your left hand, you hold a plain, boring scrap of paper. If I asked you which one is more valuable, you would probably laugh. The gold, obviously. For thousands of years, every king, queen, and conqueror on earth completely agreed with you. But then, something bizarre happened. The world slowly decided that the boring scrap of paper was actually better, stronger, and more valuable than the gold. Today, you and I trust that piece of paper every single day without even thinking about it. How did an ordinary piece of paper defeat the most precious metal in human history? The answer is hiding in a tiny, clever trick invented hundreds of years ago. A trick that still controls every single dollar in your bank account right now. To understand this mystery, we have to go back to a time when gold was the absolute king of the world. Gold was the perfect money. It was incredibly beautiful to look at. It never rusted. You couldn't fake it, and you couldn't easily find more of it. If you had a heavy wooden chest full of gold, you had absolute power. It was the ultimate physical wealth. But there was a massive, dangerous problem hiding inside all that beauty. Gold is ridiculously heavy. Imagine you are a merchant from a long time ago. You want to buy beautiful silk clothes or delicious spices from a city far away to sell in your hometown. To pay for these goods, you have to pack a heavy chest full of clinking gold coins, load it onto a horse, and walk for weeks through dark forests and empty roads. And the robbers knew exactly what you were doing. Carrying gold wasn't just hard work, it was terrifying. If you got robbed on the road in the middle of the night, your life savings were gone in seconds, and your business was dead forever. This constant, daily danger became a giant wall that almost stopped the world from growing. People were simply too scared to travel. If you can't move money safely, you can't buy things. And if you can't buy things, the entire economy freezes. But human beings are incredibly clever when they want to be. They desperately needed a way to travel thousands of miles without carrying a single piece of treasure. And that is when a completely new idea was born. In big, busy trading cities in Italy, a few smart, trusted people started setting up heavy wooden benches in the town squares. Behind them, they built strong vaults, locked boxes, and hired armed guards. They looked at the terrified merchants and made them a simple offer. They said, "Do not carry your gold on the dangerous roads. Give your gold to me. I will lock it inside my safe vault, and it will be waiting for you right here." But how could the merchant prove the gold was his when he returned? Think about what happens when you go to a fancy restaurant in the winter. You give the worker your heavy winter coat, and they hand you a little paper ticket with a number on it. You aren't scared that your coat is gone forever. You know that as long as you hold that little ticket, you can get your favorite coat back whenever you want. The ticket perfectly represents your coat. That is exactly what the men at the wooden benches did. They took the heavy gold and handed the merchant a simple paper receipt, a written promise. Now, the merchant could put a lightweight piece of paper in his pocket, hop on his horse, and travel safely. When he got to the new city, he found another trusted person who worked with the man back home. The merchant handed over the paper, got fresh gold coins out of the local vault, and bought his spices. It was a brilliant, life-saving system. But what happened next changed the history of money forever. At first, merchants just used the paper to travel safely, and then immediately turned it back into gold. But soon, they realized something amazing. Getting the gold back out of the vault was actually really annoying. It was heavy, it was loud, it was hard to count. One day, a merchant looked at the person selling spices and said, "We both know the gold is sitting safely in the vault back home. We both trust the man guarding it. So, why don't I just give you this piece of paper? You can use it to go get the gold later if you ever want to." The spice seller thought about it, smiled, and took the paper. This single, quiet moment flipped the entire world upside down. Why? Because the gold stopped moving. The heavy, beautiful metal stayed locked in a dark room, gathering dust. But the paper started traveling the world. People started buying horses, ships, and houses, all by trading small, lightweight pieces of paper. They called these papers bills of exchange. But the real magic wasn't the paper itself. The paper was completely worthless. It was just crushed wood and ink. What made it valuable was one invisible thing: Trust. When the spice seller took the paper, he wasn't trusting the ink. He was trusting the promise. This teaches us the greatest secret in the history of finance. Value isn't a physical thing you can touch. Value is simply an agreement. When everyone agrees that a system works, that system becomes real. Trust had just become more powerful than physical wealth. But you might be wondering, what were the guys guarding the vaults doing this whole time? Well, this is where the story gets crazy. The men guarding the gold noticed something strange. Day after day, month after month, the gold just sat there. Because everyone was trading the paper, nobody ever came to take their gold out of the vault. The guards realized they were sitting on a mountain of treasure that just collected dust. So, they got an idea. An idea that sounds a little bit like a crime, but it actually became the foundation of modern wealth. They thought, if nobody is coming for this gold, why don't I print a few extra paper receipts and lend them to people who want to start a business? They started handing out paper money that didn't actually have gold behind it. They were lending out trust. As long as everyone didn't ask for their gold on the exact same day, the system worked perfectly. This invisible trick created new money out of thin air. It allowed businesses to borrow money, build huge ships, and hire workers. Those trusted men sitting on the wooden benches? The Italian word for bench is banca. They were the world's very first bankers. They built a system of trust that allowed humanity to trade safely across deep oceans. Without those paper promises, huge trading ships would never have been built. Giant companies would never have started. The modern world was built entirely on a foundation of paper. And yet, the strangest part of the story was still waiting to happen, because this system never stopped. It just kept getting bigger. Hundreds of years passed. People kept trading paper. Eventually, kings and powerful governments looked at this system and said, "We want to be in charge of that." They took over the vaults and printed the paper themselves. And very slowly, generation by generation, we completely forgot about the gold. People got so used to trading paper that they didn't care about the metal anymore. Eventually, the governments quietly unlinked the paper from the gold entirely. Today, there isn't even gold hiding in a vault to back up the paper in your wallet. The paper itself simply became the money. We trust the system so much that we don't even need the treasure anymore. And recently, we took it even further. Today, we don't even use the paper. When you tap your phone to buy a cup of coffee, or when you get paid at your job, you don't see paper, and you definitely don't see gold. You just see tiny numbers changing on a glowing screen. But it is the exact same magic, from heavy gold, to paper tickets, to invisible digital numbers. The physical thing kept disappearing, but the wealth stayed. Why? Because finance is not about shiny metal, and it is not about paper. Finance is simply confidence. It is a shared story that we all believe in together. When you put your hard-earned money into a bank today, or when you invest in a company for your future, you are doing exactly what that ancient merchant did. You are giving up your physical money today for a promise that you will get more back tomorrow. You are relying on the exact same invisible trust that was invented on those wooden benches hundreds of years ago. Next time you look at a simple $20 bill or check the numbers on your banking app, remember the heavy gold locked in the dark. Remember how a simple written promise completely changed the world. What surprised you the most? The fact that people learned to trust paper more than gold? Or the fact that our entire world is still running on that exact same invisible trick today? Let me know in the comments. And if this story changed the way you look at money, hit the subscribe button so we can explore more of these incredible mysteries together. Because in the end, true wealth was never something you could hold in your hand. It was always something you had to believe in your mind.